What you want to know is how fat your bank account will be when you sell your home. I'm Julie Grant, and this is my Fast Tips Friday. Stay tuned till the end. I have a great trick to figure out what your net proceeds will be in 3.2 seconds. So first of all, you need to get the value of your home and what it's likely to sell for. This you can discuss with your agent, and they'll be able to run a local CMA report, which is comps in the neighborhood that have sold recently, take in some other factors, and get a good idea for what a buyer in your market is willing to pay for a home like yours. Just a quick tip, you really don't want to rely too much on online website sources for this information. I have a video here about Zillow and their Zestimate accuracy, but really none of the online services are going to be able to provide you with a completely accurate number. I've put together a sample seller net sheet. It's the same report I would give to a client of mine whose home I'm listing, so that they would have a really good idea of what their bottom line will be at the end of the sale. So first of all, we've got the sales price, which is an estimate right now. It's basically what the seller and I have agreed to list the home for. The biggest thing that's going to come out of your profits is the mortgage payoff. Now that's if you have a mortgage. If you don't, and it's paid in full, congratulations. If you have a mortgage that you'll be paying, or a second mortgage, any mortgages that you'll have to pay back, that'll come off first. So in this example, we've got this number right here. This gives you your gross equity. The next biggest item is going to be the real estate agent's commissions. The seller typically negotiates with their agent what they'll be paid, and their listing agent then splits it with the buyer's agent as an incentive to bring buyers to the home. This is negotiable, but it's typically around 6%. So 3% would go to your agent and 3% to the buyer's agent. I highly recommend choosing an agent based on the services that they have to offer rather than going primarily on price. You can think of it like store brand mayo. You can get it, it's cheaper, it sells because it's cheaper, but it's not even real mayonnaise. Now, we're not talking about your budget for the week, store brand mayo, grass-fed beef, and how they taste, and which you should purchase. We're talking about the person who will be marketing your home. It's a transaction most people only go through 2 or 3 times in their life, and marketing can make an incredible difference. You'll need to make sure that they provide great service. A good realtor will properly invest in the marketing, and resources may have assistants and a team that will ensure your return on investment. So we'll call that 6% here. And then you'll have your transfer taxes. This is made up of different items. They'll call it different things, different places, but the grantor tax, tax stamps. So this is going to vary wildly depending on where you live. For example, in Virginia, it's 0.3%, and in DC, right next door, it's 1.45%. Then there are fees that are going to be going to the settlement company. Here's some examples of ones I had recently.
Got this one from a $650,000 house, this one from a $465,000 house, and this one from a $755,000 house.
Now, you don't have a lot of control over these costs because it's the buyer that typically picks the settlement company, but luckily they don't fluctuate wildly. Some other payments you may have to make would be taxes that you have not paid that the buyer is going to pay for a time that you lived in the property. Same thing goes for the HOA fee. So if you're behind on the HOA fee, behind on the taxes, those will come off of the total amount due to the seller. So here I have an Alta to use as an example from a recent transaction.
As you can see from here, they had quite a bit of past due taxes. There's also a payment they're going to be making for money that has not been paid for the current period that will be paid later in the year by the buyer. So they're giving this money to the buyer in order to fulfill their obligation for taxes of that year. And then they are getting a credit here because they have paid the condo fee for a full month, and they only will be owning it half of the month.
The other considerations you may have is you may have offered to pay some of the buyer's closing costs. This is something you'll negotiate when you receive an offer. They may need it, you may raise the price in order to work it in, but if you are paying any of the buyer's closing costs, that's going to show up here as well. So you've got the sales price, the mortgage payoff, charges to seller, credit to seller. That comes to this figure right here. Now you will also have to keep in mind anything that you've done to fix up the home for the sale. If you had to spend $600 on painting or $6,000 on floors, that'll come off your profit as well. Now, like I told you, I have a really great trick for figuring this out in just seconds. Go down below to the description of the video, click on the link. If you go through there, it'll give you a valuation and also your home equity. And if you don't agree with that value, you think it's worth more or less, you can contest it. Then a local realtor, me, if you follow my link, will be able to do a CMA for you and provide an adjustment finely tuned to what the market value is in your area. You just take that minus the agent commissions and minus, I don't know, let's say $2,000 on a $600,000 house in Northern Virginia, or about $9,000 on a $600,000 house in DC. Minus any repairs, and that's your profit.